Hello everyone, I am Divya Dhorajiya, a science educator at Gajera International School, Katargam. Today, I am going to discuss one topic of 7th grade science, methods of heat transfer. Let's see what is transfer of heat. Before we start, first we need to understand that what is heat energy. When there is a difference in temperature between two bodies, then the energy flow from one body to another is called heat energy. Heat flows from a body placed at higher temperature to a body placed at lower temperature. This phenomenon is called transfer of heat. There are three modes by which heat can be transferred from one body to another: conduction, convection, and radiation. Let's see one by one. The first method of the heat transfer is conduction. The metal objects become hot when they come in contact with hot liquids or solid. For example, an iron nail becomes hot when we left it undisturbed inside a hot water container. This happens because the heat from the hot liquid is transferred to the iron nail. This transfer of heat from one body to another is called conduction. Conduction requires a medium for the transfer of heat. It is not possible in vacuum. When we hit solid metals, at that time their particles vibrate vigorously, and these vibrating particles collide with their neighboring particles and pass their energy to others. So these neighboring particles thus start moving faster and the process continues. The conditions, so there are two conditions are necessary for heat to be conducted. First one, the two bodies should be in contact or touch each other. Second, the temperature of both the bodies should be different for heat to flow. Let's see the second method of heat transfer. As we know, water is poor conductor of heat. So, the heat transfer in water by the conduction is not possible. Then how heat transfer takes place in water? So, in liquid and gases, heat transfer takes place by the process called convection. Let's understand the phenomenon of convection through an activity. First, fill the beaker with water. Then gently drop few crystals of potassium permanganate into the beaker and let it settle down. Now, place the beaker on flame. Now, you will see the colored stream of potassium permanganate will reach to the surface and come down by touching the side of the beaker. After some time, the potassium permanganate completely dissolved in water. So here, when the beaker is kept on the flame, so here the water at the bottom gets warm, and here the density of the water become less due to the expansion, and the water become light and goes up to the top. And here, meanwhile, the water, the hot liquid present at the surface, it sinks to the bottom. So here, this movement set up the circulatory stream of hot and cold water is known as convection current. This results in heating of entire volume of water in the beaker. In this activity, heat is transferred from the bottom to the top through the movement of water molecules, and this method is called convection. This method of heat transfer occurs in liquid and gases because in liquid and gases the molecules are less densely packed and they are free to move. Examples: sea breezes and land breezes that blow near the coastal areas are the examples of convection currents. Let's see the third method of heat transfer, radiation. When we sit in front of the fire, we feel warmth of the fire. So it is not due to the conduction process, because we know that air is a poor conductor of heat, and it is also not due to the convection process because it rises upwards. So here the process of transfer of heat energy from a hot body to the cold body without heating the space in between them is called radiation. For example, the heat reaches us from the sun. So in this method, heat travels in the form of electromagnetic waves, and this mode does not require any medium for the transfer of heat. So the energy transferred in this process is called radiant energy. and this takes place in both water as well as in air. So here the electromagnetic waves travel with the speed of light. So the radiation is the fastest method of heat transfer. Now when radiant energy falls on any objects, so partially it will be absorbed and it partially reflected. So the amount of heat reflected or absorbed, that is depend on the nature and color of the object. So we know that dark colored, that is good absorber of heat and good radiator of heat, and light colors that are poor absorber of heat. So that is why in winter we are wearing dark colored clothes to keep our body warm. Thank you.